We got a couple cool things to talk about, of course. The first thing being, we're going to talk about standout quarterback Jaden Daniels and his VR and AI training that he does to help with his decision making. We're also going to talk about a little bit of Xbox and their gaming that they are having come to some vehicles in a few different countries. And also, we're going to talk about Ubisoft, how they are planning rather to incorporate AI into their open world gameplay and what that looks like for certain games.
Do you think that now with these advancements in technology that we're going to see different types of players in the future?
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Autonomous Income. I'm your co-host, Deuce Noble.
And I'm your co-host, DJ. What's going on today, Deuce?
Hey, man, another day, another dollar. We living in this AI world. We are just pawns in it, of course, or figments, pixels, whatever. We might be, agents in this world, honestly. We got a couple cool things to talk about, of course. The first thing being, we're going to talk about standout quarterback Jaden Daniels and his VR and AI training that he does to help with his decision making. We're also going to talk about a little bit of Xbox and their gaming that they are having come to some vehicles in a few different countries. And also, we're going to talk about Ubisoft, how they are planning rather to incorporate AI into their open world gameplay and what that looks like for certain games that we all love. And that's pretty much, I think, what we're going to dive into. DJ, we got anything else, or what you think?
No, man, I think that'll give us plenty of things to cover. And a lot of that is, hot topics right now. There's a lot going on in AI as it is always, but those are definitely some of the ones that we wanted to get our take on, let you know kind of when those are coming, and also just give you the TLDR from our point of view and our perspective in the industry for sure.
Absolutely. All right, man. Which one do you want to tackle first? Come on, let's get with it.
You know, of me, man, no, I'm not going to hold you back between talking about your team and definitely your quarterback. You know what I mean? So if you want to
That's
jump
my
directly
quarterback.
in, yeah, with your quarterback, man, go ahead.
All right, man. So I'm a fan of the Washington Commanders, through thick and thin. That's my team. However, one of the cool things, it is football season. So we're going to talk a little bit of football. But Jaden Daniels, last year, rookie quarterback standout, set multiple records, right? And a lot of people are now trying to replicate some of the things that he did. But one of the key things he incorporated in his training was the use of VR and AI, which he used to help simulate key plays, but also help with his decision making when he's in the backfield. And what is it, DJ? It was sped up, right? So he can make
Yes.
his decisions even faster, which I think is light years ahead in training for any sport, honestly, because getting these mental reps, so to speak, and physical in some nature without taking the brutality of getting hit or hurt. Right. So he's really taking these mental reps, which is key for playing a position, especially at the pace and the speed NFL. Right.
Where was this when we were in football?
Man,
Where was
I'm
this one?
saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this might have saved me a lot of bruises, a lot of pain, and you know what I mean? Like, but yeah,
Look, because when you mess up, the coach is like, run it again.
man, yeah, one of all the things. I mean, like, I'm super excited about this because like it's just very interesting, and he did go very far. Like, I think if he would have went to the Super Bowl, he might have been the first rookie ever to take his team at least to the Super Bowl, right? He didn't have to win,
Listen,
if I'm not
he did
mistaken.
it.
And don't quote me on that, but I mean, yeah, I think that's pretty far to take your team for your rookie season.
I mean, even to the conference championship game, that was very far to take it. And you got to look at it. His use of technology is completely innovative for not only the position, but for the sport in general, right?
Yeah.
It sets just a new benchmark in professional sports because I mean, don't quote me on this, but I think it's unheard of for this type of use of technology in professional sports in general. I mean, I know there's some sports like even with, let's say, NASCAR or race car driving, they
Mhm.
use some
Yep.
sort of simulations, right, to simulate events. But the type of technology he was using, crazy. Like, right, the VR simulator he was using was developed by German entrepreneurs, Verena Kau and Christian Hartmann,
Yeah.
right, which is insane on how they
Yeah,
came up with this.
the interesting thing is like here reported by Sports Science Agency is like basically at the heart of Daniel's training regime is a VR simulator developed by the German entrepreneurs, as you just mentioned, Deuce. Initially, it was designed for soccer. So as reported here, the system was customized for American football to meet Daniel's needs. So that means that they spent time, and from our field, right, in product management and development, all those things, like it sounds like they took that iterative approach. Man, it's hard to say that fast. And just like, like basically getting feedback and altering it and everything like that.
Absolutely.
Really cool. And this is where it gets in. They're saying it operated at 1.75 times real life speed. So the theory being that this sped up simulator pushed Daniels to process information faster than he would in game. Just with that being said, I mean, that's amazing because as a quarterback, they definitely need to make, quick decisions. They can't just be in the pocket too long. I mean, defense is definitely after them every play of the game, right? So, I mean, like,
Let's
yeah,
think about this. Even if we put our product hats on like we usually do, right? Well, for our background, if you think about how this was created and modified to meet the standards of American football, essentially this is a proof of concept. However, Jaden Daniels and whoever in his team, in his camp had him get his hands on this, light years ahead. And can you imagine what this proof of concept could do once it becomes mainstream for sports, and not only professional sports, but like when it gets down to, little
even
league,
high
high
school,
school,
college.
college,
Yeah, yeah,
man,
yeah.
man, this type of feedback can really, really strengthen because you're getting, like I said, those mental reps. You're really strengthening a player, an athlete to have that increased intensity, the load management, everything, right?
Yeah, what I want to ask you, and definitely in the comments below, you guys can let us know your thoughts on this, is like, do you think that now with these advancements in technology that we're going to see different types of players in the future? Like maybe, if people are starting off at younger ages with this type of technology, do we really think that it's going to improve them? And then, I mean, imagine they might shatter a bunch of records because now, I mean, you're starting off with like this, kind of advantage. Now, if you also play a lot of football, Deuce, you know this from playing football. I mean, you also naturally get better too, especially if you have good habits, good coaching and all those things, and maybe more games that you play. But in this, it's like you can specifically fine tune, I mean, you can run these simulations all the time. And like you said, you won't get injured, what I mean? Like you don't have to necessarily worry about
Right.
injury, all
So
those other things. Yeah.
I think, like you said, the proof is in the pudding, right? So
Yeah.
there's two parts to it. The load management, right? You're taking a huge load of pressure off your body, right? So that's one. But two, you got to look at what Jaden Daniels did in his rookie season. He
Yeah.
blew stats out of the water. He set multiple rookie records for not only the Washington's Commanders, but for the whole NFL league as a rookie. And it shows that, hey, if this was part of his daily regimen, where he's waking up getting these extra reps, it
Yeah.
showed, right? He carried his team to a national conference championship, which is unheard of.
Crazy. Crazy. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm excited because of this technology because not only am I a fan of the team, but it's exciting to see this type of innovation in sports, right? I've played sports all my life. I know you grew up playing sports as well, DJ. So this is really, really cool to see
Yeah.
because not only can this take and help prevent it's injury preventive, we can limit the amount of injuries we see athletes having, especially at a younger age now, especially the speed that the sport is played at and how many injuries are happening with lifting weights and trying to get in shape for this, but this really can be the tip of the iceberg for sports innovation.
Like I said, I just said, like, if we had something along these lines when we're a younger man, like, who knows? I mean, like, because you can run through just a lot of iterations of different things that can happen, different situations. Like they said in the article, different defensive schemes and all of that. And that's at one skilled position, right? So now, they can build it
Okay.
for potentially receivers or any, some of the other positions and in different sports, right? This is football. But as, the technology, maybe if they customize it for different things, like this is, it's going to get very interesting pretty soon here. But yeah, I'm excited about this one.
And not only that, also in the article, it states that, this could really spread to a lot of different things, and fan experiences is one of them.
Oh,
Fans
yeah.
can experience a simplified version of what Daniel's training was like, but also they can create an interactive link between the technology and the audience, through mobile activations and everything. So it's actually pretty cool, where this technology can go and see how not only is the verge of the AI bubble really pushing, but it's spreading far and wide into a lot of different realms. And sports is one of them, which we see a lot of really, really cool innovation. And this is pretty exciting. So I want to know from you guys, our listeners, what do you guys think about this type of innovation? Would you guys use it if it was available to you as an athlete or ex-athlete, or if you have kids, family members who are athletes, or just what do you guys think about Jaden Daniels? Do you think this is, do you think it's a competitive edge that he gets, right? Like, how do you feel about that, DJ? You think there's a competitive edge where it's maybe not fair?
I think, I mean, for him to go that far in his freshman season is pretty unique, right? So we could take that piece of data, but also I know this year, and I think recently, like you were mentioning, like injury and all those things. But I think once everything's back normalized, really, I mean, watching his career, like I think that's really what's going to help the benchmark. And I don't know if there's any other, like some of the new quarter, and it doesn't matter about the age, but I don't know if there's any other quarterback I would say that's using this. Like, so if anybody
Right.
else, hopefully they get this to my, Dak, if you're watching, if this gets to you, what I'm saying, this might be, and I mean, he's a great quarterback, but I'm just saying, like, maybe if it works, right? If it works, man, like,
I mean, Dak
I just want
has
my
been
team to
pretty
win.
solid.
Yeah.
However, he doesn't. It is a team sport for football, and his squad has
Sure.
not been supporting him. So, you know. But anyway, I think this is absolutely light years ahead. Pretty sweet technology. I'm a fan. So that's just my 2 cents. This gets 2 thumbs up from me. And yeah, I like it. But yeah, what do we have next on the docket, DJ?
Yeah, man. So now we have to talk about Ubisoft. It's interesting
Oh,
because I've been watching them. I met someone who works at Ubisoft a long time ago at South by Southwest. Played in a lot of us have played, Ubisoft games over the time. Of course, all the Assassin's Creeds and all, just a lot of things that come out from Ubisoft. Definitely well known. Ubisoft, their CEO recently at an event, he was speaking about how AI will make open world games your world. So basically, they can like really personalize things for the individual gamers, which I think was really interesting and cool. One of the examples that he discussed was in something like, say, Assassin's Creed. Like, he may put in Socrates or something like that, or some real person from history that you can have a conversation with thanks to the large language models and all those other things. And they can give you tips or advice, and you can kind of have open conversations with them if you want to. It really just adds to that gameplay, right? So I mean, that immersion. So like, and then he may give you some philosophy lesson in the game, and I just think that's really, it adds in a different layer to these games because and as well as I know, traditionally NPCs have just been like, like imagine you're a typical GTA NPC is just like, you bump into them, they don't really say anything, you can't really interact, like it's all pre-scripted,
right.
right? But in this case, like it's not pre-scripted, and they can basically train it, the model to, stay within the guardrails or whatever. But I just think this really opens up the gaming industry to just a whole new paradigm when it comes to NPC interaction and how you're going to be playing these games in the future. So
Even, historically, I guess, or recently in a lot of the last Assassin's Creed games, NPCs have been, like you said, scripted, but it's been more of a variation. Like, let's say they'll give them 5 different scripts and you choose, I guess, the path you want to go down. And of course, from there, it's like a tree, essentially. Like, if you choose this way, then there's 2 other options, right? If you choose this prompt, you get a couple other options, right? So you're kind of choosing which way you go, and you may have different outcomes for your story, but ultimately, let's say they probably program 3 to 5 different outcomes. Whereas now you have, an AI script or, something where the NPC can completely make up their own outcome. It doesn't seem far-fetched with how it will be included,
yeah.
especially seeing that Ubisoft CEO is a big fan of doing this, right? So, and I think even though the characters may be voiced by a human voice actor, they can take, and resynthesize their voice to philosophical questioning if, let's say, Socrates appeared in the game, right?
Yeah, man, I just think that opens up, and this is one example, right? I mean, so you can have maybe, NBA like 2K or something like that, and you might talk to Jordan or you might talk to whomever, or if they want to keep it with historical characters and not individuals that are still like here and all those things. Just the whole point of it is just like, it just adds a different element that we've never had before because previously in gaming, like I said, it was a lot of pre-scripted and it's very kind of canned messaging. So now like it adds to
Yeah.
the immersion that people will have. So you might be able to talk to whomever it is and what type of game that you did. And I think Fortnite did that for a little bit, if I wasn't mistaken. You know, they got into a little, as we talked about before, a few episodes back, is where I think they licensed or they had Samuel L. Jackson's voice as Darth Vader, right? James Earl Jones. They had, they had
Right.
Darth, and people were able to kind of talk to Darth Vader. You know, that kind of wild. There was a lot of clips set up about that, but it did add to the game. Like, it's a little bit different. So
I think overall it's very interesting, especially if they can pull it off. And it'll be cool to see just how games, not only just Ubisoft games, but just the gaming industry can transform if they're able to pull this off to make it worth its while for games and gaming in general, right? Because if the right technology comes to play with the AI, it could really transform a game, right? Especially keeping with the story and being able to have, that creative control with those characters, right? So I think it'd be really interesting if it could be pulled off. But
yeah,
I'd love to see it happen, honestly.
I think that that would be super. I mean, yeah, I can't wait. It's definitely something that I plan to check out just to kind of see how it is, because that immersion, the gaming industry is just like, it's still on an upward trajectory and everything like that. Still, even though, it's been a little bit rocky lately. So definitely how AI is going to find its way into a lot of these things. And this is practical. I don't think it's anything that's a stretch of the imagination, but the execution of it and how it actually plays out, that's what I'm interested in watching that unfold. And in the
Listen,
same vein of gaming, yeah, so Microsoft and LG. So apparently they've been reported that they're partnering to bring Xbox Cloud Gaming to select vehicles. So select vehicles in certain markets and everything. So just off the headline alone, what do you think about that?
first of all, what vehicles? Because listen, if I can't download it to my current vehicle, I don't know about. Nah, I'm
Yeah,
playing. But honestly, that sounds pretty unique. It's like you could take anything with you. You know what I think about this? First reaction is if people say they're living out their car, they might really be, okay? As much as cars cost, if they can have their Xbox, if you would tell me I could have my Xbox, I could be work fully remote and I gotta go nowhere and I had to, man, listen,
man. Look, as
the
a
way,
kid, road trips would be amazing. I mean, you don't have, you
okay,
take games with you. So as reported here, passengers can now stream games like Forza Horizon 5 using the Xbox app on LG's automotive content platform, requiring only internet access and a Game Pass Ultimate subscription and a Bluetooth controller deuce. So, I mean, that's most of the time, kids looking out the window, are we there yet? All those types of things. Now, I mean, they have the entertainment factor, or whoever's in the back seat. Like, I just think that that's pretty cool. I know one thing, Xbox's strategy, it seems like they are just trying to be everywhere and go everywhere, and like they even call it what, Xbox Game Anywhere or something like that, where you can play on pretty much whatever platform. I really like that they're doing that, because as somebody who owns multiple consoles and they have kids and they have different devices and all those things, it's really cool for them to be able to bounce around and keep their save files and all of those things. So I like that their strategy that they're trying to do, and this is just adding to it. So it'll be interesting to see as this kind of unfolds as well, like where it's coming towards. But
this is something I know we've talked about this previously, quite a few times, but I just want to mention how Google Stadia was way ahead of its
was
time.
way ahead of its time, man.
And right now, the way gaming is going, as we continue to talk about gaming, Google Stadia would have been right on par with the direction this is going, right? I mean, because typically, you once needed, a handheld device like the ROG Ally or the Stadia, I'm sorry, not Stadia, or the Steam Deck, right? But this really is kind of taking the cake in as far as how immersive entertainment can be. Like you said,
Yep.
road trips are going to be crazy, right?
Crazy.
Get your friends in the car, or not even your friends. You have your cousins, your brothers and sisters. Your car, you're playing games, headphones. I got a Bluetooth controller right here. I can take it. But this is really going to really upgrade your level of rideability. Like even if you're chilling, you go like to go camping with your car, if you like to just be out on the road. You want to know something actually really cool? I had an Uber trip one time. Me and my wife were in the back seat, and the driver had, I want to say it was a PS5 somehow hooked up into his back, and
Oh,
we had to play a game during our ride, which is actually pretty cool. So that was kind of
now
fun, and
that
it
is
kind of
really cool.
reminds me.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he was like, yeah, you guys got to play. He gave us a controller and everything. We drove along, so that was definitely
That's
five
hey,
star
did you
experience,
rate them
right?
five
So
stars or not? Did you rate
Nah,
them
that was
5?
definitely a 5-star
All right, I'm
experience,
about to
man.
say, yeah,
Listen.
yeah. You gotta show them
Listen,
love when
look,
they
because
do
it
that.
was fun. Because like, but that's kind of like what this is like. Because it's like, man, this is nothing but fun, right? You got to think like cars are we're transforming how we are living nowadays, how we're driving. You know, a lot more people are back on the road, probably even more than before COVID, right? People are on the road going places, and you know, we both have kids, DJ, so we know what it's like to be on a road trip with some kids.
1000%, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
one.
this would definitely probably save a lot of parents. Won't protect their pockets, but it'll save them a lot of headaches.
So, like I said, again, with those platforms that have LG's automotive content platform or ACP, as reported here by Times of India, select internet connection vehicles like the Kia EV3, EV5, EV6, and even the new orders will let passengers stream and play their favorite titles on the go. And I believe, like I said, I don't think this has hit the States yet, but I'll keep up with this to see like once it's has a broader adoption and all of those things, and there might be some videos already out of people kind of using this service, but it seems pretty cool. But definitely for EVs, a lot of them have the screens in the back now kind of built in where you can game on those. I think that's definitely helps out, and having another platform that you can like have all of these, it kind of makes sense because then the manufacturer can worry about the vehicle and they can use services like Xbox Game Pass or in their specifically their cloud gaming to power these experiences. But yes, I will foot stomp what you said about Google Stadia because both you and I were like founders editions and all this other stuff, and like my kids loved it. We had a lot of people when it first came out, they're like, "Oh, it's choppy and all this." We didn't have any of those issues, man. And I don't know if just
Hey,
because we had great Wi-Fi or whatever, like it
I
was
don't
just
know.
smooth,
Listen, I
smooth.
had mediocre Wi-Fi, but Google, if y'all catch wind of this, please, please, please reconsider bring Stadia back.
I
Please,
said,
the
and we can
people,
talk
the
about
people want it.
they do. I mean, I don't know because what they would look back is at the data, and apparently it didn't hit the metrics that they wanted to hit for their own success criteria. But I would say that maybe
I feel
now
like if
because
they would
like,
have
it
stuck
doesn't
with
really be
it, if
different
they would
now,
have
right?
stuck with it, it'd have been
Yeah.
there. All in all, to say, I want to know, you all listening, are you guys going to buy an EV that has an Xbox capability, or are you guys going to take the leap and go get a Kia? Let us know what your thoughts are on what you think about the gaming and what LG and Microsoft Xbox are doing with vehicles, right? I think I would personally love to get one.
Oh yeah.
This is something that, you know what, hey, you know what? If my next car ain't got this, I want it, okay?
You don't have to ask me. I need that. You know what I mean? Like
Need
I
that.
mean, just cologne for the kids. You know what I mean? Like I said, I mean, like
No,
for
I
them.
mean like primarily for kids, right? And the grown kids. I don't know when I'll ever be riding in the back seat, but listen, if I
I know.
ever,
Yeah. But I would need you to get it so that way if I ride with you, if you drop, I can be the best. I can play around. I can live
and
because
I'll be your
I mean,
Uber driver,
yeah, because I mean, honestly, when you think about it, dude, it's like we don't really get to ride in the backseat that much because we're primarily
man.
doing the driving, right? So I mean, like it would be kind of cool, like as this becomes more of a thing. And it's definitely edge case, have it there, but there is a strong use case for individuals with family. Like I think
Absolutely.
this.
Absolutely. But anyway, I think, like I said, this is definitely really cutting edge as far as the technology goes. Seems pretty sweet to me. But as always, let us know you guys' thoughts in our comments. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.